A Reckoning in Saltwater. Chapter 1. The Harbor That Remembered Them. The harbor smelled of salt, rust, and things left unsaid. Claire walked ahead, her stride steady, though her shadow trembled against the boards. Daniel followed, watching her, measuring the distance. Miles lingered behind them both, knowing this place had kept their secrets for years, and knowing it would not keep them much longer. The gulls circled low, restless in the gray half-light. The three of them had not walked these same planks together in a long time. Too long, perhaps, for the air to feel as it once had. The tide rolled in and out with the slow certainty of a truth they had tried to outrun. Water slapped the old pilings with the sound of small, steady warnings. No one spoke at first. Claire stopped at the railing and looked out over the bay. The wind pushed her hair back, revealing the tired lines near her eyes. She didn't hide them now, not from the sea, and not from either of the men behind her. "I didn't think it would feel this strange," she said quietly. "Coming back here." Daniel stepped beside her, leaning forward, hands in the pockets of his worn jacket. "Places remember. People pretend they don't." His voice was low, thoughtful, as if the words belonged more to the water than to her. "It isn't strange. It's overdue." Miles kept a few steps behind, though the space didn't spare him from the old familiarity. The tension felt like a rope drawn tight between them, humming with the things none of them had dared say aloud. "We chose the right time," he said, though he wasn't sure he believed it. "One way or another." Claire turned enough to see him. Her gaze softened then sharpened, the way it always had when she wanted to say something but couldn't quite risk it. "Did we? 'Cause this place looks the same, Miles. But we're not." The wind picked up, pushing the scent of seaweed and cold iron along the dock. Daniel straightened and nodded toward the warehouse that stood near the edge of the wharf. "We should go inside," he said, "before the storm actually comes." He glanced at the sky. "It's been threatening all morning." Miles looked up too. The clouds were heavy, low, a restless gray. "It's holding, though. For now," Daniel said. They began walking again, the boards creaking under the weight of their shared past. Claire walked in the middle this time the way she had years ago, back when everything between them was easier and everything ahead felt possible. Daniel kept his hands in his pockets. Miles let his arms hang by his sides, feeling the air shift as they moved. The warehouse door groaned when Daniel pushed it open. The inside smelled of old wood, oil, and rain-soaked rope. Dust motes drifted in the stray light that slipped through cracks in the planks. Everything seemed touched by time, yet untouched by change. As if the place had been waiting. Miles stepped in last, closing the door behind them. The thud echoed. The wind outside pushed against the boards, impatient. Claire slid her fingers over the old work table, tracing lines carved there by fishermen who had come and gone long before the three of them were born. "It feels smaller," she said. Daniel shook his head. "No. We're just bigger." "Or older," Miles added. "Not the same thing," Daniel said. The first rumble of thunder rolled across the harbor. A low, distant growl. Claire turned toward the sound and then toward the men. "We should talk," she said, and the words dropped like a stone in water. "Before it gets worse." Daniel exhaled slowly. "You mean the storm or everything else?" "Both," she said. Miles moved to the far wall and set a hand on a crate, steadying himself. "All right," he said. "Let's talk." Claire didn't sit, though chairs stood scattered around the room. She kept her back straight, shoulders firm, eyes bright with a quiet resolve. "I didn't come back to argue," she said, "or to open old wounds just to watch them bleed again." "We know," Daniel said. Miles kept silent. "I came because we have to figure out what happens next," she continued. "All three of us. Not separately. Not with old grudges weighing the air. Together." Daniel's jaw tightened. "That's the problem, Claire. Together is what brought us here in the first place. And kept us alive," she said. Miles looked up at that. Daniel noticed it too. "You think so?" "I know so," she replied. Miles let the silence sit long enough for the rain to begin tapping at the roof. The sound came soft at first, then steadier, a rhythm that filled the warehouse. He rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the familiar heat rise there. "We can't pretend things didn't happen," he said. "I'm not pretending," Claire said. Daniel crossed his arms. "Then say it plainly." She met his gaze unflinching. I loved both of you. And you both loved me. And it broke something in all of us. The storm answered with a crack of thunder. Miles closed his eyes for a moment, letting the words settle. That's not the whole truth, he said. It's the truth we could bear at the time, Claire countered. Daniel paced a few steps, boots echoing on the boards. We were younger, he said. Not wiser. Just younger. That's not an excuse, Miles replied. It's a fact, Daniel shot back. Claire raised a hand. Enough. If we start fighting now, we won't stop. Not today. The rain grew harder, drumming on the roof like fingers tapping a warning. Daniel took a breath and moved toward the window, brushing aside a hanging length of canvas to look out at the harbor. Water churned in dark swells. Boats rocked, moored by thick ropes that strained against the rising wind. It's coming in fast, he said. Storm's shifting. Just like we are, Claire murmured. Miles stepped closer to the center of the room, hands loose at his sides. He didn't feel fear or anger, just the strange clarity that arrived whenever truth forced itself to the surface. We can't stay stuck in what happened, he said. But we also can't rewrite it. Daniel turned from the window. Then what do we do? Claire answered before Miles could. We decide whether we can still carry each other, or whether we let go before the next wave hits. The wind howled, bending the walls slightly inward. Daniel clenched his jaw. Let go? After everything? Claire held his stare. Sometimes holding on does more damage. Miles stepped between them, not close enough to touch either, but close enough to anchor the space. No one here wants to hurt anyone, he said. Daniel's eyes softened, but only a fraction. Claire looked at the floor. The storm shook the building again, louder this time. Claire flinched at the sound, and Miles reached for her instinctively, then stopped halfway, hand suspended in the air before he lowered it slowly. Daniel saw the gesture. His expression flickered with something old but not dead. Claire noticed both of them noticing. This is what I mean, she said. Every move, every breath. Someone gets pulled. Someone gets pushed away. It's exhausting. It's human, Miles said. It's selfish, Daniel countered. It's real, Claire finished. The rain hammered the roof in sheets now. The wind pushed hard against the door, rattling it on its hinges. Daniel crossed the room and set his shoulder to it. This place won't hold if the tide rises, he said. We should get back before it floods. We're not finished, Claire said. We'll drown if we stay, he answered. Miles looked from the door to Claire. He's right. We need to move. Claire shook her head. Not yet. Daniel shot her a frustrated look. Claire. Not yet, she repeated, firm this time. Lie to yourselves if you want. But don't lie to me. The storm outside isn't the one we're afraid of. Miles let out a breath, long and slow. Daniel swore under his breath and let go of the door, though it shuddered hard as soon as he stepped back. Water began to seep through the bottom seam. Claire took a step toward them both, arms loose, voice steady. You want the truth? Here it is. I can live without the harbor. I can live without this town. But I can't live another year pretending we didn't break each other. Miles felt the words land like weight in his chest. Daniel looked away. And I can't stand here, she continued, knowing we're about to walk back into our lives with nothing settled. Because if we do that, we'll lose whatever little we still have left. You don't know that, Daniel said quietly. Yes, she replied. I do. Miles moved closer, careful with each step. Then tell us what you want. Claire's eyes glistened but didn't break. I want honesty, even if it hurts, even if it means one of you walks away tonight. Daniel's jaw tightened again. Or both, he said. Maybe, she answered. Miles swallowed hard. You think we can fix this? I think we can stop pretending we can't, she said. The storm roared, as if demanding an answer of its own. Daniel took a slow breath, then faced Miles. Something unspoken passed between them. Old tension, old affection, old wounds that had never been properly cleaned. We were friends first, Daniel said. Brothers, Miles corrected quietly. Were, Daniel said again. Miles nodded, accepting the truth of it, though it stung. Then maybe it's time we choose what we become now. Claire stepped between them this time, looking from one to the other. "Whatever you choose," she said. "I won't make the decision for you." The wind shrieked through the cracks in the wall. The floor trembled with the force of the gale. A sudden slam shook the building, the side door tearing open, banging hard against the outer wall before the wind caught it again. Daniel cursed and ran toward it. Miles moved too. Claire reached out as if to stop them, then pulled her hand back, uncertain. Daniel braced the door with his shoulder, but the wind fought him, fierce and wild. Miles grabbed the edge and pushed, but the gale screamed through the gap. Rain swept in, cold and blinding. "Hold it!" Daniel yelled. "I am," Miles shouted back. The storm surged, slamming the door with brutal force. Miles lost his footing for a moment, skidding on the wet boards. Daniel caught him by the arm, pulling him upright. "Thanks," Miles said breathlessly. "Don't make me regret it," Daniel muttered. Together they shoved hard, the door trembling against their combined weight. Claire joined them, pressing both palms against the wood, adding her strength to theirs. The wind howled, but the door began to give way, inch by inch. With one final push, it slammed shut. Daniel slid the bolt across, panting. Miles leaned back against a crate, catching his breath. Claire wiped rain from her face, strands of hair clinging to her cheeks. For a moment, none of them spoke. Then Claire whispered, "This is what I mean. We're stronger together, if we stop fighting long enough to see it." Daniel stared at her, still breathing hard. Miles looked down at the wet boards. The storm beat at the building again, furious and relentless. The tide surged, waves crashing against the outer wall. The warehouse groaned like an old ship at sea. Miles lifted his head. "We can't stay." Daniel nodded. "No." Claire hesitated. "Not yet." Daniel stepped toward her, voice rough. "Claire." She met his gaze, steady. "If we leave now, the things we've carried for years will chase us right out the door. And I'm done being chased." Miles approached, standing beside Daniel now. "Then say what you came here to say." She inhaled, bracing herself. "I have to choose," she said softly. "And so do you." A heavy silence settled, thick as the storm pressing against the walls. Outside, a wave crashed, shaking the whole structure. Claire didn't flinch. "But I'm not choosing tonight." Miles stared at her. "Why not?" "Because you're not ready," she said. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "And you are." "No," she admitted. "But I'm closer than either of you." Another thunderclap split the air. Miles stepped toward her. "Then what happens now?" Claire looked between the two men. Men she had loved in different ways at different times with different costs. Her voice was soft but sure. "Now," she said, "we survive this storm. And after that we stop running." Daniel's expression darkened. "And if the storm hits harder? Then we hold each other up," she said. "Or we drown trying." Miles swallowed. "That's not much comfort." "It's not meant to be," Claire whispered. Rain hammered the roof, violent and relentless. The walls shuddered. Water slipped in under the door, gathering in small dark pools. Daniel turned toward the entrance. "We need to go. Now." Miles nodded quickly. "If we wait any longer, we won't have a way out." Claire looked at both of them. "All right," she said. "But once we're outside, no more pretending nothing's wrong." "No more," Miles said. "No more," Daniel echoed. The three of them moved toward the door as the building trembled again. The storm screamed through the harbor, furious and alive. The tide was rising fast, swallowing the docks inch by inch. Miles reached for the handle. Daniel stood beside him. Claire stood behind them, breath steady. Miles paused, glancing at both of them. "Ready?" Daniel nodded. Claire did too. Miles pulled the door open. Wind and rain crashed into them in a violent rush, tearing at their clothes, pushing them back. The world outside was wild and gray, the harbor almost indistinguishable beneath the churning water. Claire shouted over the roar. "Stay close." Daniel grabbed her hand. Miles grabbed Daniel's shoulder. Lightning ripped across the sky. The three of them stepped out into the storm together. And the chapter ends here, in the split second before the next wave hits.